Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the West Ham Weekly, the last of the 21-22 Premier League season, but not the last show, because as I promised last week, I will be sort of doing more shows. But of course, there won't be any player watch to talk. Well, there might be player watch, won't be any games to talk about, and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to primarily be all about transfers and what players are going to stay at West Ham and what players are going to leave West Ham, and you're going to get bored of me talking about transfers that ain't going to happen. But that's life, because we have story after story after story every day, every week. You can't keep up with them. The minute you hear of one transfer story, by the time you've written it in your script, you've got another three to talk about. So you're going to have to put up with me through the whole summer to talk about transfers. But let's just focus on the last game of the season and a few other stories that have popped up over the last few days, and give you an update on everything West Ham related. But first of all, I've got to thank you all. I hit over 800 subscribers last week, and I'm well chuffed. So everyone that subscribed, thank you very much. Everyone that likes, if you haven't subscribed yet, and this is the first time to watch me on the show, well, subscribe anyway, even if you don't like me. No, but seriously, thank you very much. It's really much appreciated to have hit 800. I had a target in mind by the end of the season, and I'll tell you what, I've gone way above that. So I'm really chuffed, and thank you very much. So let's get on with some of the stories, shall we? And the first one, of course, is quite a surprising story that came out today, that Stuart Pearce has left West Ham. Now, I don't think anyone really expected it. It's really funny because this time last year, Alan Irvin, left West Ham, and we thought that was a shame because you could see he was quite an influential figure at West Ham United, and you kind of knew that David Moyes had an awful lot of respect for Alan Irvin and Alan Irvin's input into the club and so on and so forth. But to see that Stuart Pearce has left straight after the season's ended is a surprise. Now, look, there's a lot of speculation going around, isn't there? And I'm sure you're going to hear a whole load of different stories. But someone like Stuart Pearce is never going to really tell you the reason why. Some people are speculating that he's likely to be going back to Nottingham Forest. The first club, was it one of the first clubs or the first club that he played for? And other people are suggesting that, and I don't know, this is all gossip, isn't it? That maybe he doesn't feel appreciated in the backroom staff, that his views are not being are not being taken on board, and maybe it's time for him to move on elsewhere. We don't know. It's all speculation, but I know we're going to miss him because Stuart Pearce is a massive character. He is absolutely must have been an influence in the background at West Ham United, and it's a real loss to see him go. Last season, Alan Irvin, and then end of this season, Stuart Pearce. We actually wish him well. Stuart Pearce went on to say, "It's with a heavy heart that I've made the decision to leave West Ham. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to work at the club over the past 2 years, but I've decided now's the right time to step away and pursue other opportunities and challenges." And then he went on to thank David Moyes and the board and all that sort of stuff. And he said it's been fantastic to work with the players and the staff at Rush Green. He called it a very special environment, and he wishes everyone at the club well for the future. And he said West Ham has got a special place in his heart, and that's absolutely fantastic to hear. So we wish you well, Psycho. But whatever you do, don't bring Nottingham Forest back up to the Premier League and beat us next season and become another bogey team. But we do wish you well, and I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame. Right, let's move on to something else before we talk about the game, etc. Um, I don't know. Many of you, I'm sure you know, a chap called Sean Whetstone, who has retired from writing for the Claret and Hugh website, and yet he writes articles for Claret and Hugh when when it takes his fancy. And he put out a story the other day that we've this season that's just passed has given West Ham United a £228 million windfall. Not bad, eh? £228 million. So the breakdown is 125 million from Premier League broadcasting funds because of finishing seventh, and that's broken down by Each Premier League club getting £82 million. Televised appearances for West Ham, 26.5 million. Merit payments for finishing seventh, that's 27 million. TV broadcasting, oh yeah, we had to pay back some money because of COVID, the impact that COVID had on television rights. So paid back 10.5 million. So that brings that to 125 million. And then on top of that, commercial and sponsorship, 28 million, £10 million for retail income, 42 million pounds for ticket revenue. And then this was an interesting one, Europa League, 23 million pounds. Now, Sean, the very same person, wrote just last week that we made 40 million pounds from Europa. So I don't know what it is. Anyway, all in all, it's about 228 million pounds. Let's not forget all the money we didn't spend in the January transfer window. So that was rumored to be something like 40-50 million pounds. So we've got at least 280 million pounds to spend in the transfer window, haven't we, for this summer? Not a bit of it. Don't even think that. I think we will have money to spend. It won't be anywhere near the 228 million pounds we made this season, but not bad for West Ham United for finishing seventh, in Europa League and all that sort of stuff. It's a nice little earner, as people would say. So let's see who's in the chat and say hello to you all. Good evening, Disabled Team. Congratulations to West Ham fans on getting European football again. West Ham morning. Thank you, Disabled Team. I hope you're well. And well done to you guys for avoiding relegation at the weekend. I did actually think that you'd actually go down. Let's see. Oh, me of little faith. I think that was more because I wanted us to sign Calvin Phillips from you, which is why I kind of assumed you go down. But well done for surviving, and I'm sure you'll be strong with Ted Lasso in charge of you next season. Darren, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Good evening, James. Good evening, all of you moderately happy. Yeah, we're going to talk about the game in a minute and see how moderately unhappy a lot of us are. Good evening, Graham. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Darren, big question of the day. Will Stell be on time? I think he was. Martin said no. Good evening, Martin. I hope you're well. Good evening, Julie. Evening, Stell. Don't know about you, but I felt more like being run over by a train all day. Must have been that one goal celebration. It was a long day, wasn't it, in Brighton? A long, long day. Of course, Wiggy left us again. He went to have a curry with his real mates, whilst we had fish and chips. Well, I had I had that cod roe rub. It was awful, and those chips along the beachfront, which was a lovely way to end the evening. But I feel knackered as well, Julie, I must admit. And you're right, I don't know where I get the energy from either. I saw your WhatsApp message a minute ago. Good evening, Anil. No, not on my watch. What, me being late? Good evening, Black Country. How are you, mate? Good evening, Daniela. How are you? I hope you're well. When will the transfer window open? Oh, I know, and I've forgotten. I think it's the 10th of June. I think. So I'll try and find out. Good evening, Chris. I have a bad feeling about the window. Villa have already closed the deal with free agent, and Moyes struggling to convince Jesse. Yeah, Boubacar Kamara. If there's a player that's anywhere near as close to Declan Rice in his style of play, it's Boubacar Kamara. And I won't lie to you, I was really shocked that Aston Villa announced his signing. That is a major coup for them. Major coup. Struggling to convince Jesse? I don't know, because I've seen all the stories today. That we are looking to sign Jesse for, I think, 130 grand a week, etc. I think maybe it's just a signing on fee. I still think Jesse Lingard will come to West Ham. I really do, unless he goes for the money, of course, and then he'll go to Newcastle. Good evening, Jason. 10th of June. Thank you very much, mate. Good evening to you, Tony. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining, mate. Steve. Evening all. Hope all's well. Couldn't go yesterday. Tested positive. Oh, mate, I hope you get better. I hope it's not too bad. Good evening to you, Lee. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. Anil, we got it till the 9th of June then. What have we got till the 9th of June? Yeah, a lot of speculation. Trust me, Anil, we'll have an awful lot of speculation well into the transfer window as well. Jason, good evening. Pearce leaving. Didn't see that. No, exactly, mate. Didn't see that coming at all. It's a shock. I hope he's leaving for the right reasons and not for all the rubbish speculation that's going around. Daniela, are we going to cover the summer international? I will try, but I won't promise. Now that I'm on one man band, it takes a lot for me to get the shows together, and I am going to try and focus on transfers. But of course, you know me. Every time a West Ham player will play in one of the international games, I'll mention them without a shadow of a doubt. Good evening to you, WHU. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Um, Julie, bit gutted he left. Who? Wiggy? Well, it's what he's like, isn't he, Julie? Keeps letting us down. Black Country. Get well, Steve. Absolutely, mate. Get well. At least it's not monkey bomb. My goodness. Good evening, Kimbo. How are you? The rest of the game. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Daniela, Jason, Pearce leaving. Didn't see that one coming, but maybe he has a manager job on the horizon. He has had his go at being a manager. Remember, he was manager of Man City at one point. Maybe he thinks he's right for it now. Yeah, good point. Who would he manage? Who would he manage? Any Premier League team? Be interesting. Going to be very interesting. Good evening, Tyler. How are you? Bubakar Kamara gone to Villa. That's a down. Honestly, I'm gutted, to be honest. I will not lie. I'm gutted because the two of all the various central defensive midfielders that I thought we were going to go for, I thought it'd be Calvin Phillips and I thought it'd be Bubakar Kamara, and I don't think we're going to get either now. With Kamara, going to Aston Villa, and with Leeds staying up, I don't think we've got either. Don't think we've got either. WHU. Pearcey has been at West Ham for over a decade. Sad to see him go. Absolutely, yeah. In all the various times he's been with us, has it been a decade? Wow. Darren, how has Bubakar? I know, mate. I really am shocked. I won't lie to you. I actually put a short show together about that particular player. But to be honest with you, as much as I've thought it'd be great for us to get him, I actually thought if anywhere he was going to go, I thought he was going to go to Atletico Madrid, because I had a look at him because they were really apparently ready to sign him, and with regards to the salary they could pay, the kind of players that they have around him, Champions League football, etc. I kind of speculated. I didn't even see, but you know what? Well done, Villa. You cannot deny they've pulled a good one on that player. I think it's going to be a sensation. Good evening, Patrick. Afternoon, all. Starting back at the beginning. Well, catch up. I hope you're well, mate. Good evening to you, Razor. How are you? Good luck, my son. Great show. Let's hope Vlasic, Fred, Masu, Yamo, Randolph, all gone, especially Vlasic and Kral. Wasted money by Moyes. Let's get real. Pearce probably looked at Moyes' mistakes and as many. Yeah, I'm going to have a little banter about David Moyes later on in the show. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about some of those players that you've mentioned as well. Let's scroll down. Who else have we got in here? Daniela. Everyone's great. Lee, long back. Great. Nice of you all to talk to each other. I love that. Razor again. Kamara, gone to Villa. Dithering Dave again on. Well, we don't know. Maybe we weren't even in the race for him, to be quite honest with you. Give this money to someone who knows what he's doing. Well, I keep saying, but who am I to say? I keep saying we should have a director of football and a coach. David Moyes is a brilliant coach. Director of football, don't know. Black Country, dream. I always dream. But what am I dreaming about? Let's scroll down. Who else have we got here? Darren. If we sign more players this window, we'll be shocked. I will tell you right now. I mean, I've looked at how many players are likely to go. Well, let me get onto that later, because I've actually got a script just specifically on that. But there's something like, I'm going to talk about 5 players anyway, not without even mentioning the players that might, that are still in contract, like Diop and Vlasic, etc. But I'm going to talk about 5 players anyway. I speculate we'll get rid of 5 and we'll bring in 5, is what I think. I do not think, and even if we sell others, if we sell the likes of Diop and other players in contract, I still think we're only going to get 5 at best. 5 at best. But let me get onto that a little later on in the show. Razor again. Darren, let's do Darren. If we sign more than 3 players this window, I think we'll get 5. I really do. Oh, God. Razor, never understood why we're looking at Lingard, nearly 30 now, Kamara, Villa. Moyes again, really. Let's not get over. Let's see. The January window hasn't opened yet. We've got to start getting. we'll look at a deadline throughout the window if it's not going well and say, right, now we start panicking. But let's not panic yet. We don't know. I mean, Villa, I think Liverpool got that young, I can't remember the name of the young player that they've got in. There's a lot of deals that happen leading up to the transfer window. For all we know, we could have a couple like that as well. Good evening to you, James. I hope you're well. There's more to Pearce's story, I think. I hope it's not a bad story, to be honest with you, James. Good evening, Hammerette. You're late. Have you got the hammer ready? Or the spanner, should I say? Sorry. Rhonda and Tony, good evening to you. Good morning to you. I deserve 8,000. Mate, I'd be lucky to get anywhere near that, but thank you for saying that. Much appreciated. Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's stop there and let's go into the first part of the show, shall we? Right, so let's talk briefly because it is a bit upsetting. Let's talk briefly about the Brighton West Ham game. I mean, what a shame to end the season the way we did. But look, lineup, and we can all do this with our eyes shut now. We knew what the lineup was going to be. Fabianski in goal. Maybe it be Johnson or Soufal at right back. The rest of the defence as it is. Declan and Souček in the middle. Ben Rama wasn't back from injury. We all speculated that Ben Rama will be back, and we thought Diop might be on the bench as well, but he wasn't on the bench. And even the story last week that came out to suggest that Oggy would be back for the final game of the season, that didn't materialise either. And when you look at our starting 11, decent. It's all right, isn't it? It's a team that's been out there for the 50 odd games. Excuse me, for the 50 odd games that we played, and almost every one of those players has had a lull, apart from say Declan, apart from Zuma hasn't really let us down, apart from Bowen. But you look at some of the other players, Soufal injury, blew hot and cold. Dawson is given a couple of penalties away. Creswell was out injured, and caught the Europa League caught out a little bit there when we lost against Frankfurt. Souček hasn't been in 100% form. Even Fornals had quite a poor game at the weekend against Brighton. Lanzini blowing hot or cold again. He had a good spell in the season, then he kind of gone cold again. Antonio, well, we know all about Antonio, don't we? But then we look at the bench and we kind of start wondering, yet again, in order to make up the numbers, rather than putting on a young player, yet again, we had two goalies I hate that. But anyway, Areola and Randolph in goal. If there was anyone that was going to come on between the two of them, it was going to be Areola. Fredericks, going to talk about him later. Johnson, obviously one for the future, has got to be. Masuaku, Noble, we know it was his very last game, 550th game for the team. Alex Kral, we won't be seeing him again. Yarmolenko, bid farewell. And a player for the future, Armstrong Okoflex was on the bench. And yet, we still didn't see Armstrong Okoflex when there was an opportunity to bring on some fresh legs in order to try and get back into the game. But anyway, that was the team. And you can see from the bench, when you look at the bench, you look at Areola, one for the future. You look at Johnson, definitely. You look at Okoflex, definitely. And then all those other players in between, Randolph, Fredericks, Masuaku, Noble, Kral, Yarmolenko. There's a lot of players on there that just aren't really the future of West Ham United, are they? And David Moyes has got a massive job to do in the summer transfer window, but I'll get onto that a little bit later as well. Look, the game started really well. I thought we had a really, really good first half. There was nothing to suggest that we were going to get spanked in the second half in the way we did. We put in a really decent performance, and then on the 40th minute, what a superb goal by Antonio. It was absolutely fantastic the way he took it and the strike with his left foot to put it into the net. It was an absolutely fantastic goal. The fans were happy. We heard that Man United were losing 1-0 to Palace. I predicted that Man United wouldn't get a positive result. But to be a goal up, to be a goal down at Man United and us a goal up at half time, we were in the Europa League spot. And came out in the second half, and all of a sudden it was like as if I don't know what happens. The fact that West Ham United were that Palace were were winning 1-0, and West Ham were winning 1-0 as well, should have meant that we would have gone all out for it to maintain that position. But we all know what happened. The second half started, and um, Brighton made one change. They took Bissouma off, and they brought in Maupay on, and within 5 minutes they were equal. They equalised, and it was shocking, to be honest, because all of a sudden we started to become nervous. We started to not be able to pass the ball. They were all over us. They were sort of getting on top of us. They were making better decisions throughout the pitch, etc. And it was a real shame. And we went 2-1 down with Pascal Gross scoring that decent goal, and then Moyes finally made the changes. He brought some fresh legs on. Soufal Fornals and Lanzini were off, and Noble Johnson and Yarmolenko came on. Why not give Flex a chance and give him a run out and see what he might be? A young lad, nothing to fear, nothing to lose. Might run up and might never know, never know. But it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. That was the 10th game we played Brighton in the Premier League, and we haven't won one of them. 4 defeats and 6 draws against Brighton. And like I said in last week's show, the last time we beat Brighton was 6-0 in the Championship when Vasquez scored a goal. Look, it was a horrible game to finish off with. It was, because we've had some real highs, we've had some real lows in this season. The first game of last season against Newcastle, we went away in the sun, went 1 goal down, and then we smashed them. We came back and we played absolutely superbly. Then there's been the lows, Kidderminster, where we almost got knocked out in the cup. That would have been embarrassing. Then we had other highs: Chelsea at home, Liverpool at home, the away win at Aston Villa. All fantastic efforts. And then we had the things that we have question marks over. We lost twice to a very, very poor Man United side. We lost twice to a team like Brentford. We and then to rub salt into the wounds, we in the semi-final of the Europa League, we lost to Eintracht Frankfurt. They ground out a result. They're good at it. They ground out a result. Obviously, they went on to become winners of that. Not obviously, but they went on to win that tournament. But if anybody watched that Europa League final, how many of you were saying to yourselves, how come we're not in the final? How come we're not actually winning this game? And there's always these, just we've been a sort of the bridesmaid throughout the whole season, haven't we? When we had an opportunity to secure 4th, we got let ourselves down. When you have the opportunity to secure 6th, we let ourselves down. The opportunity to get to a major final, let ourselves down. And it's such a shame. It's such a shame. But you know what? All's not that bad, to be quite honest with you. How many of us would have said that 2 seasons in a row would be in Europe? How many of us would have said that? How many of us would have said that we would have finished in the top 7 twice in a row? 6 last season, 7th this season. Many people speculated that with European football playing a big part of our season, that many people said we're going to fall away. We're going to not do very well in Europe anyway, and we're going to fall away in the league. And people were asking, which one do you want to prefer? Which one should you prioritise? Well, Moyes, even with the small squad that he had, prioritized both. He had to. He's a manager. You can't say, I mean, Eintracht Frankfurt, you could see, and Lyon did it as well, that they prioritized the Europa League. Lyon fell away from it. They suffered. They're not in Europe next season. Frankfurt, they won on penalties, but by the skin of their teeth. It doesn't always work when you prioritize one competition over another, but it wasn't to be. However, we are in Europe. It's the not the Europa League, it's the Europa Conference League. My apologies. But the Europa Conference League doesn't matter. It's still European football. It's still going to give us an opportunity to get more experience in Europe, Europa Conference League. And I, for one, don't mind. Being in this. Okay, we're likely to play smaller teams. We're likely to, not play in very big stadiums and all that sort of stuff. But it's still European football. But I was reading today about how apparently we're not fully qualified yet. We're in the playoffs, but we're not fully qualified. And I was reading this, and boy, I started to get a headache when I tried to understand how this all works out. So let me go through it very, very slowly for you. So in the competing playoffs in which we're part of, will be one of 44 teams from around Europe. Okay, the setup for the playoffs is as complicated as you can get. Before West Ham get involved, there will be a series of various qualifying rounds to get to the 44 teams. So there's going to be a whole load of games before us throughout sort of July to get to the 44 teams. Okay, so far. Now, other teams like us who will there are 5 teams that automatically go into the playoff. 5 of the 44. There's ourselves, there's Villarreal, Fiorentina, Cologne, and Nice. Now, look, Cologne, Nice, Fiorentina, they're the Brentfords of this world. So watch out, West Ham United. Villarreal, they're a very decent Spanish team. So those teams, Villarreal, Fiorentina, Cologne, and Nice, plus ourselves, will be 5 teams that go into the automatic playoffs in August. Okay, so far? Here's where it starts to get complicated. Now, these 44 teams will be split into 2 paths. 10 in the champions path and the remaining 34 in the main path. Why the fuck they want to fuck around with this, I don't know. But there you go. The 10 clubs on the champions path consist of the 5 winners from the UEFA Conference League third qualifying round and 5 losers from the Europa League third qualifying round. So teams in the Europa League qualifying rounds, those that lose will drop down into the Conference League. Okay, so far? The other 34 on the main path, as I said, includes West Ham, includes Villarreal, Fiorentina, Cologne, and Nice. 27 winners from the UEFA Conference League third round qualifying round and 2 losers from the Europa League third qualifying round make up the 44. I'm lost already. All you need to know is we're part of the 44. We won't play our playoff game until August. Now, here's another interesting thing. We may be seeded when it comes to the qualifying rounds. We may be seeded even higher if Liverpool win the Champions League. We're currently coefficient of 21.3 and will be a higher coefficient if Liverpool win the Champions League. Have any of you fallen asleep yet? Right, anyway, the draw for the playoff will take place on the 2nd of August, and the 2 legs, the playoff legs, will be on the 18th and the 25th of August, just after our Premier League season starts. So, once we get through this phase, it all becomes a lot easier. There'll be 21 other teams who have won their respective playoffs, plus 10 more teams eliminated from the Europa League to make up the 32 teams split into 8 groups of 4. Now, the dates for the group stages start in September. So we've got the group stages on the 8th and the 15th of September, 6th and 13th of October, 27th of October, and the final group stage will be the 3rd of November. So it'll be just like we've had with the Europa League, where we're going to have Thursday night football, Sunday football, Thursday football, Sunday football throughout September, October, and the beginning of November. And then, of course, we all take a break because the World Cup's here. The Europa Conference League and all other European competitions will start again in February, 16th and 23rd of February for the last 16 game, and 16th, and then the quarterfinals will be played on the 9th and the 16th of March. There you go. Sorry, no, quarterfinals will be on the 13th and the 20th of April. Semi-finals on the 11th and 18th of May, day of my birthday. And then the final itself will be played at the Sinobo Stadium in Prague with a massive capacity of 20,800 fans. Right. Anyway, all you need to know is we start playing our playoff game in August, and let's hope we do well. And let's hope, I don't mind being in this competition. I don't mind, because the winners of it go into the Europa League the season after next. So there's something to play for. I hope you haven't all fallen asleep. But there you go. Right. Scott, Jesse Lingard is much better than Lanzini. Well, we could do with both of them. Good evening to you, Vinay. Lingard will do more than Vlasic and Kral put together. Can't deny that. Daniela. I know. I don't know what magazine it's from, though. Can you tell me where it came from? Because I was surprised. My thumb not faint. Daniela, yes, it was not a great result, but it's been a great season. I'm not going to let one bad game ruin the bigger picture. Absolutely agree with you there. You can't let that one bad game. Epic. Start Fab cost us Europa League. Starting Fab cost us Europa League. He didn't play in the Europa League. Starting Fab. I don't know what you mean, mate. Oh, I see. Starting Fabianski against Brighton. Yeah, that first goal that he let. I mean, that I think he should have saved at least 2 of those 3 goals. Am I being harsh? I don't know. Darren, free transfers can be signed from the 1st of June. Absolutely. Look. Let's hope. Let's hope we show intent. I want to see Areola and I want to see Lingard through the door as soon as possible. That'll be 2 of the 5 signings that I think we'll sign. James, the season isn't a day over and the whining is starting. Mate, go on social media and you'll see how bad it is there. You'll see how bad it is there. Steve, think that Fredericks, Diop, Kral, Vlasic, Randolph, Yarmo, Masu, and possibly Benny will be out the door. I don't, because that's too many. Fredericks, I'm going to talk about this in a minute anyway. Fredericks, yes. Kral, yeah, end of loan spell. Randolph, probably, yeah. Yarmolenko, end of contract. Masuaku, possibly. The others I'm not so sure about. Be too many for us to let go in one go. Epic, I agree with you. Loyalty to Fab cost us 6 to 10 points. I don't want to be that doom and gloomer, but I do. I kind of agree. Happy. Hammerette, I can see us keeping Benny now and loaning out Vlasic. That's a possibility. Darren, our second half performance yesterday was shocking. It absolutely was. Chris, Stel, now that you agree with me on Cornet, Moyes should raid Burnley for Cornet, Pope and Brownhill, plus Lewis Potter. That's a good shout. That's a good shout. Do you know what, mate? I wrote my script thinking that Leeds were going to go down, and so I've got details about Rafinha and Calvin Lewis, and now I'm going to have to do another show talking about the players that we can get from relegated teams. But I agree. I agree with you. They're players that maybe Moyes should be looking at. James, Fabs and Soucek should have been dropped for Areola and Lanzini next to Deck. Fabs and Soucek dropped for Areola and Lanzini. Yeah, Lanzini. I think if Benrahma would have been fit, you would have probably seen Lanzini play alongside Declan for the last couple of games. Darren, we was 1-0 up and Moyes told the players at halftime that Man United were losing. We came out second half like a bunch of mongs. Do you know what? I wonder if it did have the reverse effect. Rather than inspiring them to make sure they got the win, you might be right, mate. It might have had the reverse. Lee, good evening to you, mate. I enjoyed your shows. What an amazing season. Thank you very much, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. And it has been an amazing season. Look, we can't deny 7th European football again. You can't deny it's not been that bad at all. Good evening to you, Andy. I hope you're well. All a touch late getting here. Don't worry. You know what I'm like, mate. You haven't missed much, so I wouldn't worry too much. James, there is something seriously wrong on the club still when it comes to attitude and playing if our lives depended on it. Do you know what? I don't think they kind of. I just think they just ran out of steam. I wonder, maybe it's a good point. Psychologically they thought that the game is won already. I don't know. I don't think they put effort in. It's just unfortunately they just look like they were a bit lost. And all credit to Brian. They came at us. Daniela, murder at the West Ham Voice was Hammerette in the chat room with the. Have she been knocking people out? Anil, I don't blame any players for dropping from 4th to 7th. The lack of bodies coming in January was the reason. I think it was part of the reason. I can't deny. I think it would have helped. But then I do ask the question. I have asked a legitimate question. Even if we got players in January, we don't know whether they would have made a difference or not, to be quite honest with you. We can only speculate that they would have done. I mean, I do look at other clubs. I do look at, Villa. Coutinho made an immediate impact. And who else? There was Spurs. They got 2 players in that made an immediate impact. So, yeah, you get the right players in, you can make an immediate impact. But I'm going to talk about that in just a moment as well. So let's do a few more of your comments. Good evening to you, CC. I hope you're well. Please, let's everyone don't be negative. There'll be plenty of time for that when the window closes. Good evening, Claret and Booze guys. I hope you're well. My West Ham YouTube sabbatical lasted less than a day. That's probably who's on. Let me know who's on. Good evening to you, Kevin. I hope you're well, mate. We need more pace this summer. I totally agree. I totally do agree. Going to talk about transfers later. Going to talk a little bit about some of the players that we may or may not keep. Chris, honestly, Moyes should get this window correct. Next season competition will be very tough. Newcastle, Villa, Palace. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be in a much better position next season. Absolutely right. We've got to get it right this summer. Fat Gitchenko. Still, you getting a partner for the channel? Someone big or Scottish, or a person with both qualities? I heard Gio is being fat and no is the answer to that. Good evening, Mr. Dennis. How are you, mate? I've got a quick few questions for you about the website, but I'll do that tonight, if not tomorrow. Vinay, Fab will be working for the Red Cross over summer since he's so charitable. Oh, poor Fabianski. Fabianski has cost us plenty of games. Let him go as soon as he won't be going. He's signed an extended contract, so he's going nowhere. He's going nowhere. Fat Gitchenko, the full name is Conference Pair League. It's sponsored by Far. Don't knock it. We're in it. Don't knock it. Don't knock it. I tell you, I'll be singing heartily if we win it. I wouldn't give a flying F. I don't care. It's like I've said many times before. We've always had 2-3 European competitions, certainly in my lifetime. Fairs, Intertoto Fairs Cup, Cup Winners' Cup, European Cup, various guises, various competitions in various guises. For me, it's just another European competition. I just wonder if people are put off by the word conference. I said this the other day. I just wonder if that makes a massive difference. People look at it and go, "Oh, conference," and that's what puts people off. But look, Cup Winners' Cup. We won the Cup Winners' Cup, and stuff. We were in the final twice of the Cup Winners' Cup. I mean, would you tell players back then, oh, it's not worth having, because the European Cup and the Fairs Cup and the whatever other cup you used to be on? No, you get in a European competition. You want to go out and win it. It's good experience. It's I think it's fantastic for the club, and I'm not going to knock it, Fat Gitchenko. I'm sorry. Hammerette. Areola has to be number one next season without a doubt. I hope so. Steve, called at the beginning of the season. The last place we needed to go and get a result was Brighton. I know, mate. I know. I was really confident we were going to win. Good evening, Mark. Moyes is defensive manager when he comes up against somebody with more savvy than him. He has no answers. He says he wasn't happy in the second half, yet didn't change it until the 80th minute, which is a good point. Very, very true. Do forgive me. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Dabs. Still, the transfer rumours seem to be here. Mate, when have they stopped? In all honesty, when have they ever stopped? James, Moyes played Areola in a really important game in Europe and trusted him. So surely the same logic would have played Areola yesterday. It's a good point. I think he's quite, he keeps faith with players, doesn't he? When Antonio went through a really bad patch, he never once dropped him. And I know people are going to say, well, there wasn't anyone to drop him for, but he stayed with him. Fabianski, he stayed with him. He's quite loyal to certain players. And I think he wanted to continue to say, you're my number one for the Premier League, and you're my, striker for the Premier, etc., etc. And he did that throughout. I can see the logic in it. It shows loyalty, but you're not wrong. I think Areola proved more often than not how good a goalkeeper he is. Love the shirt. I know, mate. It's nice, isn't it? It's very nice. The old Avco shirt. There you go. Darren. Moyes is not a proactive manager. He is a reactive manager, doesn't even react quickly. Let's hope it changes. Good evening to you, Aidan. Thank you for joining, mate. I hope you're well. I was just about to say hello to Howard, but that disappeared. Hang on a minute. Let's scroll up. Good evening to you, Lee. How are you, mate? I probably did predict us having back-to-back still. We are massive. Hi, everyone. I hope you're well as well, mate. Mice Collective, good evening to you. It's going to be interesting. I will be a character witness for Zuma in court. I will testify against the psycho cat. Yeah, Kurt Zuma, he's been charged 3 charges and all that. He's going to get a slap wrist, and that'll be that. Howard, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Mark, will make no difference. Happy he proved that at Man United. He is what he is. Defensive manager, can't play front football. Well, I disagree, because I think we played some fantastic football this season. We just haven't played consistently fantastic football. So, there have been games. There have been games where we have wiped teams, like I mentioned earlier, we played excellent against Chelsea at home. We played excellent in our first game of the season against Newcastle. We played excellent against Aston Villa. We had a number of games like that. Look at the games that we played in the Europa League, against Lyon away, and stuff like that. So I think he is a good manager, but I just think sometimes he gets a little bit stuck in his ways, I guess. All right, I'll tell you what. I've got loads of. I'll tell you. Let me go through as many comments as I can. Eight Barley, isn't it just a bigger Inter two? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I genuinely don't care. You know what? We're going to get enough stick from other fans, Spurs and Arsenal fans and all that, calling it the two Bob Cup like you have, etc. We're going to get enough stick from them. Let's just tell them how good it's going to be. Let's just tell them, because when we go, oh fuck me, I hope I'm not wrong. When we go and win this, we'll have a trophy to hold up at the end of the season. I don't care what it's called. It's a trophy. They won't. Can you see Spurs or Arsenal winning Champions League or Europa League? I can't. I think they're going to have a much tougher time with it. And also, in this cup competition, when it gets to the latter stages, all of a sudden it becomes quite serious. Roma, are they going to go and give a toss about the name of the cup? Roma are going to want to win it, or Feyenoord are going to want to win it. You're going to have something. You're going to have some interesting teams that will be knocked out of the Europa League and dropping down to this competition as well. So don't knock it. I'd be more than happy for us to win it. We must be one of the favourites to win it. Fuck me, Mike. I hope so, mate. Mark, I'm a Newcastle supporter. Don't need faith in the fella. Just give my opinion, young lady. Never plays on the front foot. And everyone's got their opinion. No, I do appreciate that. And we got to look out for you next season, because yeah, you got a lot of money to spend. Black Country. We're not signing that many players, as you lot think. Don't be surprised. I'm saying five. I'm saying five. That will be. And I would be, if we get any more than that, I will be very, very surprised. Hammerette. The Conference League will still be tough, but a good learning curve again and practice for the Champions League. Exactly. It's exactly the way we should look at it. James, I don't care if you snob me, Hammerette. It's fun seeing the smoke streaming from your ears. I didn't explain it very well, did I? Really fucked up there. And I was trying to be careful. I was trying to put it on a slide. I just ran out of time. But I promise you, I'll do it again anyway. I will do it again. WHU. Still, trying to win the conference compared to Europa is going to be more difficult. What's your thoughts? It'll be. Yeah, like I said, because you're going to have teams from the Europa League coming down into this competition in the latter stages. So quite possibly, you're right. What we'll do, look, we'll get, we'll get a team of farmers in the group stages, and a team of, I don't know, teachers in another group stage, and a team of, I don't know, policemen in another group stage game, etc. And then out of the group stages, when it gets into the knockout stages in the new calendar year, that's when it becomes tougher. And I think you're right, WHU. I think you're right. Clarendon Boots, love Moyes, but leaving subs till 81st minutes was baffling. Been a great season, full of great memories, but we were so close, and we'll be even closer next year. Let's scroll down. Who else we got? Andy. Let's all talk Clarendon Booze videos whilst I rouse through this one. That was my brother Gary. I definitely think. You carry on chatting to each other. Sharky, I hope Masuaku stays, don't you? Good evening, Grass and Upson. Hope we see youngsters integrated sensibly and successfully into the cup squads in the early rounds. If so, that would have worked out well if we have a bigger squad. They got to play a bigger role next season. Yeah, it's all going to be a combination of how many players are we going to get through the door, and how many players are we going to get through the under 23s. I think we're going to get no more than two players through the under 23s, and I'll be even surprised if we get two, to be honest with you. So it's going to be quite. Now, if we get five players through the transfer window, and one or two players through the under 23s, then everyone could argue that squad not going to be so bad. But if we don't even do that, Daniel, good evening to you. Dwight McNeil from Burnley on the left would be a shrewd move. Interesting shout. Noble 6, good evening to you. Mill, no, what? Good evening, Crazy Cole. How are you? The players bottled it when Man U went down. Oh, don't say that. Good evening, Ahmed. I hope you're well. Two players at Spurs moved them up from 8 till 4. Yeah, Yeah, admittedly, two very good, very true signings actually saw them improve. Not to mention the fact that they and Arsenal try to cheat the COVID route as well by trying to call games off. Ah, we got COVID, we can't play, and I don't think that helped either, to be quite honest with you. But there you go. They used the system. They used the system to their advantage, and both teams got fourth and fifth place respectively. Hammerette, I saw Thomas Lanzini at the game. Who's Thomas Lanzini? Is he his brother? Almost as handsome as Manu. Oh, didn't know he had a brother. Good evening, Paul. How are you? Lingard would have got us top four. Manu stopped it. Yeah, that's a good point. But, why just stay on one player? Why not? If we didn't get Lingard, then we should have gone for some, even if it was a loan deal. A loan deal. Anyway, Chris, Brighton are Palace's rivals. They heard they were winning and could have finished above them if they lost. Yeah, see, inspiration for them as well. There you go. Okay, why don't we move on to the next part of the show? And I've forgotten what it is. Yes, I know. So, a couple of bits of playing news, shall we? And the first one, and now I've realised you are a Millwall fan, but thank you for joining, Noble Six. I hope you're well. If we get you in the FA Cup next year, that'll be lovely. Right, so first off, Mark Noble. Well, we all know now that Mark Noble's not going to have the last stand at the stadium named after him because West Ham United have decided to name the new under 23s, the Academy Arena after him, the Mark Noble Arena. And I think that's quite fitting, to be quite honest with you. Mark Noble, what's going to come of him in the future with West Ham? There's a lot of speculation that he's going to sort of be like a coach or something to that effect, with something to do with the academy, and I think that's quite fitting. Mark Noble said, "I'm truly honoured to have this academy facility named after me. Chadwell Heath has been a special place in my heart. It's where I first kicked a ball for West Ham, where I grew up as a player and as a person, and I think that's fantastic. I think it's really fitting. But that kind of puts to bed really that we're not going to see the West Ham being named after him, to be honest, and that's okay for me. Right, Europa League team of the season. Two players have been named in the Europa League team of the season. Declan, as I think we all would have expected him to do so, and Craig Dawson. I mean, look at Craig Dawson. I mean, he must be pinching himself to be named in the Europa League of the season, and so well deserved as well. He's been a fantastic servant for West Ham United, and very very much deserved. Now, there's a couple of other interesting players in there. Kostic, we've been linked to, who play for Frankfurt. Tavernier of Rangers, we've been linked to him as well. Who else have we been linked to? Oh yes. Bassi, our left back at the left back at Rangers, and I'm going to talk about him a little bit later on as well. But yeah, fantastic. Well done to those players that have been named. Right, let's get on to David Moyes, shall we? Because this kind of leads me into playing news, etc. Look, I think what came as a massive surprise. Look, a manager got every right to be angry with the way that his team has played. And the way that we played in the second half of the game against Brighton. Yeah, you've got to be honest. It was awful. It wasn't very, very good. We looked tired. We looked run out of ideas, etc., etc. But then, Moisey, as someone has just said in the chat, make a change. We had nothing to lose in that game. If we'd have drawn, it would have meant nothing to us. If we'd have lost, it would have meant nothing to us. If we'd have won, it would have meant everything to us in terms of going and playing in Europa League next season. And all Moyes had to do, if he wasn't happy with the way things are going, then change it. Don't wait to go 2-0 down or 2-1 down, sorry, before you make changes. Make the changes sooner rather than later. So look, unhappy? Yeah. A manager's got every right to be unhappy with his players, etc. But when he talked about the players and the way they played and seemingly, suggesting that they had no heart and all that sort of stuff, I think that was a little bit too much. I've talked about how great the season has been, some of the fantastic performances that we put in this season. But okay, if you look at it for this particular game and what it meant, then okay, you could be upset. But look, David Moyes had an opportunity to make changes during the game, and David Moyes had an opportunity to make changes in the January transfer window. Now, look, I totally 100% agree with David Moyes when he said, I'm not going to bring players in for the sake of it. And I've already spoken about a couple of other teams that brought players in who made a difference. And I've already also qualified by saying, you bring players in doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be successful, even if you do bring them in. And I also understand, for the January transfer window, that it is difficult to get the players that you want in. It isn't so easy to get the right caliber of player, etc. But that's what surprised me about Moyes and the players that he said we were after or alluded to, like Rafinha and Calvin Phillips and Calvert-Lewin and Darwin Núñez, etc. Those are the players you'd be looking at in the summer. You shouldn't be looking to make bids for them in the January transfer window. So that's a bit confusing. Now, I know January transfer windows don't always work, and I know people are going to say, well, what about when Bowen and Souček came in? But the situation was different. The situation then was we were fighting relegation, we were trying to stay up, and players like Bowen and Souček look like the sort of players that will be rough and tumble, getting themselves involved and grinding out results for us. Now we were looking at the top of the league and aiming for fourth place and aiming for sixth place, etc. And I understand you want a better quality of player. I'm not saying that anything wrong with Souček and Bowen. They've been fantastic for us. But I get, going for the better quality player, the Calvin Phillips and all that sort of stuff. But all I think, I'm so torn with this one, to be quite honest with you. I'm so torn with shouldn't we have got more players in January? Yeah, I'm torn with it because I agree with Moyes that you don't just bring any players in just for the sake of it. But at the same time, it would have given our players a little bit of a respite. Even if they were no better than what we've got, at least if they were good quality squad players, that may have given some of our players an opportunity to have a chance to sort of a breather. And when players are out of form, Antonio when he was out of form, and when Souček was out of form, and when Fornals was out of form, having that extra quality in your squad depth might have helped to get us through a little bit better than we did. But anyway, it is what it is. Moyes had a rant, but David Moyes, you got to look in the mirror, mate, and you got to sort of ask yourself not only where the players went wrong yesterday, but maybe what about your tactics and what you may have done that would have made it different and would have made it better. So I'm trying to be, I'm trying not to be overly critical, but I'm trying to be balanced as well, because I could see the argument from both sides. But for Moyes to rip into his players, he said, I'm angry and maybe in a few weeks' time when I calm down, blah blah blah, I might look at it different, etc. But yeah, not the best way for us to have finished the season, especially with Moyes, being as angry as he did. And then people say, well, as has already been suggested, what about throughout the season using some of the under 23s? We saw glimpses of them, didn't we? Emmanuel Longelo at left back was superb in the game against Zagreb. As Ebola Relay say, touted to be, the next decent centre back around, but only got a glimpse. Sonny Perkins got a glimpse. Dan Chester's got a glimpse, but they got 5 minutes here, 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there. Why not have continued that when we were really struggling and we were looking like we needed something different, something fresh? We didn't have it on the bench with the senior team. Then why not give some of these youngsters a bit more of a chance? But anyway, we've gone back. Moyes said, and he's right to some extent, we've gone back to conceding too many goals, and with the injuries we've had to the injuries we had to our defence, that's no surprise. But this is now in David Moyes' hands to do something about it in the summer transfer window by bringing some decent defenders in. He said, "I'm going to have a break. I'm going to have a break as there is no way I can keep going at this rate." Uh, that we have done in the last couple of games. Well, if you need a break, mate, imagine what your players would have needed as well. They would have needed a break as well. They would have needed what I've just said, that respite, in order to give them a bit of a breather to come back a little bit fresh. So, David, you need a break. I think that your players needed it too. I think the most concerning comment, I think, for me overall about David Moyes, um, is what he said about the, the upcoming transfer window. He made a comment to say, "We have a lot. We have to do a lot more than I first thought." Now, I'm reading into that by. I think Moyes was saying to himself, the end of this season, I think I'll bring 3 players in and I'll be fine. Now he's realizing, I think I need a lot more than 3 players in order to stand still. I've said already, we're going to lose about 5 players anyway from end of contracts and all that sort of stuff, retirement and so on. We're going to need 5 minimum anyway. We might end up losing something like 8 players in total. Alphonse Areola is at the end of his contract, which I think, a loan contract, but I think he'll be made a permanent. Alex Kral, I've mentioned, he's on loan. He ain't going to be signed permanently. David Martin, all right, he hasn't been used, but it's another player that will be going out of the squad. Angelo Ogbonna's contract is going to end, even though he's out injured. It's already been said that he's going to have his contract extended anyway. Ryan Fredericks. Think he's on his way. Yarmolenko has already said his goodbyes. Mark Noble, we already know, is retiring. So, with all these players going out, David Moyes coming up with that statement to say, "Oh, we've got a lot more to do than I thought." What was he thinking? Was he thinking, "Oh, I'll probably get 3 players in and I'll be all right, Jack"? I hope that's not what he thought. I hope he was thinking, "I need 5 players." And now, from his comment, thinking, "I need 8 players." But I know David Moyes is not going to get 8 players in, to be really honest with you. I will be surprised if he gets 5 or more. And let's go on to some of these players, shall we? First of all, look, Fabianski. I mean, these rumours, it's really odd. And I do remember, and I'm sure the Claret and Booze boys probably did the same thing, that we reported on Fabianski having signed his contract about 3 months ago. And yet, people are still talking about, we don't know if Fabianski is going to be here next season. Well, he's already signed the contract. So that's one out the window. Areola, close to signing. Well, we've been hearing a lot of speculation, haven't we, about Areola, the salary is on, and et cetera, et cetera. Look, this is a no-brainer, and people have been talking about Areola in the chat. Areola, first of all, PSG have already said apparently they'll subsidize his salary for another season, even if he signs to us on a permanent, up to the value of about 40 grand a week, which means that we'll be paying him 80 grand a week. Not bad for a keeper of his stature. I think that's absolutely right. If we sign him for 10 or 11 million pounds, I think that's pretty good as well. He's just been called back into the French squad for the UEFA Nations League fixtures in June, and he's a decent goalkeeper, and I think we should make him a permanent signing. Right. Sufal, he made a weird comment that everyone's jumped on, isn't he? Something about he posted a tweet saying, "Hopefully, see you next season." Now, look, um, English is not his first language. Did people misunderstand what he said, or is there something going on in the background that we're not aware of? I think it was just a clumsy tweet. I don't think he's going anywhere, to be quite honest with you. And I think it was just a clumsy tweet, and he'll still be there next season himself. I've just mentioned Andrei Yarmolenko has already bid farewell to the West Ham fans. He wrote, "Today is the time to thank West Ham and say thank you for the 4 years I've spent in London. In every match, I gave my all. I gave all my strength, every goal, gratitude to the support of our fans, hugs to teammates, coaches, club staff. I continue to believe in this team and I wish new victories and good luck. I'm waiting for a new challenge in my career. I really want to play and win. Now all the forces and focus will be most important on Ukrainian national team. We wish the Ukrainian national team well. We wish you well. You have given us some great memories. Let's not deny it. He has. Yeah, and the most important memory for me is when he kept us in the Premier League when he scored that goal against Chelsea a couple of seasons ago. That was invaluable. Absolutely invaluable. We lost that game. We quite likely would have gone down that season. So thank you to him. What else we got? Nikola Vlasic. Well, Croatia manager Zlatko Dalic suggested that Nikola Vlasic's role in the national squad could be under threat if he's not playing regular football. And of course, Nikola Vlasic is going to be quite worried about that. However, the player's agent has come out and Tonji Martic and said, "Well, Vlasic isn't going to Russia." Well, who said he was going to go to Russia anyway? And he said that he is ready to go out on loan. if need be, to secure his place. So I think some people have mentioned it. I think Hammerette might have said it herself or other people. It looks like Vlasic could possibly go out on loan. That means 5 players who are out of contract plus Vlasic. That's 6 already that we're going to likely to lose. I've already mentioned Ryan Fredericks. Apparently, there's rumour that he's going to return to Fulham, where we've got him from on a free transfer back in 2018. Look, I think a lot of players like Fredericks, if he stays fit, it would be such a decent player for us. The problem with him at 29 years of age is been there's been no consistency on his fitness, unfortunately, and that's a massive shame, and that's what lets him down. And then finally, Jared Bowen. It's been suggested that we won't be looking at a new deal for him until September, until after the until the summer transfer window shuts. Now, why? I can only speculate that a couple of things. Maybe West Ham United are waiting to see who we buy, what salaries they're going to be on, and then work out what we can afford to play Bowen. But unfortunately, I don't think it should work that way. I'm not saying that's the thinking. That's my speculation. I think we pay him. It doesn't matter who we bring in. We pay him the money that we think he deserves to have, and tie him down and secure him, and don't let the speculation go on throughout the summer transfer window. Can you imagine if we don't give him an improved contract, and there'll be every day, every other day, you're going to hear Declan's for sale, Bowen's for sale, Declan's for sale, Bowen's for sale. Give him a contract now and stop all the speculation. Right, let's go into the chat and come and then come back to the final part of the show, which is about transfers. Ahmed, Pearce leaving us plus thin bare squad is a worrying sign, to be honest, especially with some teams moving early in the transfer window. Don't worry, we're going to move early-ish. Good evening, Gary. I hope you're well. I hope you're looking after Nick. Nick's looks quite happy. Oh, no, he doesn't. There he is. He's crying. Good evening, Stuart. Signings would have made no difference. Great season, but need 1 or 2 in the summer. Love Fabianski. I think we need a lot more than 1 or 2. And Fabianski, good backup keeper, I reckon he can be. James, there's rumours that we won't buy anyone this summer. My popcorn bill will be through the roof. I don't know where you get those rumours. We will. Good grief. Good grief. We will buy players. Hammerette. Sharky, his older brother, told him he had a ridiculous crush on his bro, and Danny Dyer to move out of the way so I could. See, this is why Hammerette no longer sees me at football matches, because she's, mixing with the hoi polloi. Ahmed, European Cup Winners' Cup and UEFA Cup. There you go. European Cup, Cup Winners' Cup, UEFA Cup. There's always been 3 competitions in Europe. Jason, was it not Moyes' job to change tactics in response to the changes Graham Potter made at halftime? Best if Moyes left it all on the touchline rather than having regrets after his players give it all. This is what I'm kind of thinking. He had an opportunity to make changes and he didn't do so. He didn't do so, which is quite kind of a little bit weird. Dennis, good evening to you. Dennis, is it correct that Stuart Pearce has left? It is correct. Yes, it's been confirmed today, even on the West Ham official website. He has gone. Daniela, I agree with you, Stel, of the Conference Cup. Let's go out and win it. The FA Cup now may be a backdoor to the Champions League. That will come in the season after next. You're absolutely right. There's 2 competitions there. Absolutely. Good evening to you, Abu. When we're signing those 5 players we need, well, January window. I keep saying January. Summer transfer window hasn't started yet. Good evening to you, YRB. We won the league. Which league would that be then, YRB? Thank you for joining us. Yeah, you said it. Okay, so you're a City fan. Nice of you to join. Amrit, it's been called the Potato Cup this season, but now we're in it. It's the Conference League. Exactly. Call it what it is. Gary. Yeah, the Conference League is an unfortunate name. The final in a 20,000 seater capacity stadium is too bob, but it's a lovely big cup and we need a cup. We absolutely do. And why not win it? All right, I'll tell you what. Why don't we get rid of this prick? Thank you very much, YRB. Well done for winning the cup, but you got no grace at all. Good evening, Gary. How are you, mate? Lou Macari drives a Ferrari. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Good evening to you, Ian. How are you? Disappointing last game. Really sad to hear Pearce is leaving, but wish him all the best. Off to Forest. Well, that's some of the speculation going round. CC, please stop being negative against Moyes. Where were we before? Mate, I'm trying to be balanced. I really, really am. And if you watch this show regularly, that I have praised him an awful lot. And I think what other people have said is he did have the opportunity to make changes in this final game. It was all or nothing in a way. He had no reason not to go for it, to be honest. But there you go. Keith, what's your thoughts on Stuart Pearce leaving? Upset, I think. I said earlier in the show, Alan Irvine left this time last season at the end of last season. Now we've lost Stuart Pearce as well. You know, I also said Irvine was someone I think David Moyes trusted implicitly. There is speculation that the reason why Pearce has left is because he's not being heard, you know, and David Moyes likes to make all the decisions, doesn't he? Nothing wrong with the manager making decisions, so long as you take advice from your backroom staff as well in making them. But that's only speculation. I'm disappointed. He's a great character to have had around, and I think it'll be a loss for us. Hammerett, I think Pearce couldn't bear to see us attempting 5 subs next season. No, well, Moyes will never do 5 subs, will he? What am I selling, mate? But badly. Well, I don't know what I'm selling. I'm so far behind on the chat. That comment was made at 9:45. That's 20 minutes ago. So you're gonna have to remind me. Oh yeah, Lee, thank you. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the alarm bell, the bell button, to alert you when my next shows are on. If you're enjoying what you're hearing and what you're seeing. Good evening to you, Mark. I hope you're well. Playing in Europe was fantastic, and long may it continue. We got it again next season, haven't we? Paul, nice trophy. No, not front foot. Not front foot. Look at our goal difference. Not front foot. Look at our. I didn't understand, but it is a nice trophy. Kevin, I personally believe that Moyes does not like flair players. Like, well, sometimes you just wonder why. Maybe he just doesn't know how to handle them, because as people have said, he's a defender. He was a defender when he was playing football. Maybe he just doesn't know how to handle them. But then you look at this chap, Bowen, and he's handled him quite well. So I don't know. I don't know. Good evening to you. Oh, sorry, James. We're frustrated with Moyes. Us fans can see what needs to happen, and more times than not, we are proved right. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, because so far, David Moyes hasn't let us down. To be quite honest with you, so far, he hasn't let us down. Anil, what European experience before Moyes was the recent Astragugu debacle with Bilic? There you go. There you go. There's been worse times. Claret and booze, guys. Apparently, potato salad being cut from the club menu. Could this be behind Soucek's dropping form? That's Nick. CC, all the teams that finished above us are richer than us. When financial fair play comes in, financial fair play's been in for years, mate, but no one takes any bloody notice of it. But I know what you're saying. When that comes in on 2024, where clubs can only spend 70% of their turnover on players and wages, will become more difficult. Mate, they'll find ways around that. Trust me. All those teams above us will find ways of overcoming that little mishap. That little piece of what legislation or whatever it's going to be. Good evening to you, RG. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Let's see, who else have we got? Andy, is Moyes dithering already with Villa getting Kamara on a free? Well, it depends on whether I think we were in for Kamara. But why? Why would he have gone to Aston Villa rather than playing for West Ham United? Maybe it just didn't attract him. Who knows? Who knows? RG, 31 points from the first 19 games. Even that form for the whole season wouldn't get more than Europa League football. Yeah, I think Europa League is probably, Champions League it was a dream, for us this season. And I don't think many of us really believed that we would have made the top 4. But Europa League, yeah, I think in that respect, it's disappointing. Good. I'm glad he's gone. And I had to kick someone else out as well. So thank you for that, Hammerett. Let's scroll down. What else we got? Chris, Europa League and Champions League is overrated anyway. Conference League is massive. It's going to be the next massive for us, isn't it? Peter, age squad with no pace, fridges turn quick. Age squad with no pace, fridges turn quicker than some of our players. That's harsh. That's harsh. Chris, Happy Spuds and Arsenal always make a stinker in them. Mark, blaming the players. He sets them up. No trophy in 25 years. Not my fault, Gov. Yeah, he can't blame the players, can he? He's just as culpable. Hammer it. Let's just appreciate the fact that Antonio has finally scored for us from outside the box. And what a shot that was. That was just outside the box, wasn't it? Peter, if Moyes does that 2 keepers on the bench next season, it'll piss me. Well, lack of squad depth. But then again, as I said earlier, why not put a couple of the youngsters on the bloody bench rather than two goal? I don't get two goalies. Mark, our Europa League chances ended after the Man City draw, in my opinion. Having to win a game, especially Brighton, was a tall task. Yeah, maybe just one big game too many, to be honest with you. Peter, Arnie effed up his career big time, but not his bank balance. He doesn't care, does he? Him and his brother, that's all they wanted. Mark, Roman said no bids for Phillips, 30 million for Rafinha, just laughable. Benfica said 50 yet, board offer 40. They're having you off, peeps. I don't think we'll get Phillips, and I think Rafinha will go abroad, but I don't think we'll get Phillips. And Benfica, oh yeah, the 40 million for Darwin Núñez. Well, apparently the Phillips bid was something like 50 million. And we did apparently make it. I don't know about the Rafinha bid, and apparently we did make inquiries about Darwin Núñez. Did we actually make a bid? I don't know. What have the Romans ever done for us? Is this what's his name? The Italian ITK that Moyes laughed at the other week. Antonio scored outside the box before. He scored against Sunderland. Uh did he? I think I read somewhere that he hadn't scored outside the box for us either. That's it. That's who you're talking about. Fabrizio Romano, who David Moyes mocked the other week. But then again, who knows? Does he know? Does he not know? I think a lot of these ITKs speculate. They get one thing right out of 100 and they're called ITKs. Even I could do that. Epic. If you give Moyes 150 million, he'll just sign 5 Vlasiches. Come on, have faith, have faith. Sharky, I want to go back to the glory days of Avram Grant. Yeah, you don't. James, David Moyes has been caught in a drunken sexual romp with gold. Chris, Kral and Vlasic signings have shocked me. It looks like Moyes will bottle it. He cannot. I hope he's got a strategy, Chris. I really do. I hope he's already got the players lined up that he wants us to sign. And I hope we're going to start making bids early enough. The free signings, I think it's going to be Lingard. I think Lingard will come in on a free. Andy, I do worry about him signing a striker. I bet you £1 to a penny he won't sign a striker. He'll sign 2 attacking midfielders. He won't sign a striker. Sold Alaire, skipped Abraham, but signed Hugill. Mind you, that's still better than Sullivan's striker record. There you go. One is as bad as the other, I guess. Let's scroll down a little bit. James, Moyes is bringing in a Clydesdale at centre back, a Clydesdale at centre back, and a 3-legged dog on the flanks. So cruel, so cruel. I have faith in the man. I do. I have faith in him. I think he's going to do us proud. Wait and see. Vinay, Yama was a very skillful player, and ice cool in front of goal. He was good. He was good. He scored important goals for us without a shadow of a doubt. Good evening to you, Dana boy. I hope you're well. Craig Dawson's wife wants to move back up north. Speculation he will look for a transfer. I've heard that. I don't think it will happen, to be quite honest with you. He's been down south now for three or 4 years. I think Dawson will give us one more season, to be honest. But I have read that as well. Peter, can see Dawson going to Burnley. Now that would be a good signing for them, stalwarts. Yeah, yeah. But I think he might give us. I might be wrong. I like to think he might give us one more season, to be honest with you. But God, if he leaves, then we won't be selling Diop, and we will definitely need to sign a centre back without a shadow of a doubt. Let's scroll down. Hammer it. Bowen has to be in it, surely. Be mental if he does not get a call up for England. Talking about Gareth Southgate. He doesn't play for Man City, so he's not going to get a call up. Vinay, problem with striker Scargill is that will demand a life contract, but he is good for 20th season. Hammer it. Did you see Son's face when he realised he wasn't going to win the Golden Boot on his own? Greedy fucker. Mind you, he's a good player, though. Sharky, I'd rather he did get a call up. England have 4 games coming. Yeah, I think he'll. Southgate, he won't call him up. Graham, apart from our starting lineup, our squad looks so tired and lacking in real quality. So a major upgrade is an absolute must. Let me put that thing up that I put up earlier of our squad. The team that started against Brighton. So let's just get that up. Let's get your comment off there. So yeah, the first 11. I said this earlier on. The first 11, yeah, not bad. It's all right. And then when you look at the bench, Areola decent, Johnson decent, Oko Flex a young player, and then you got Randolph, Fredericks, Masuaku, Noble, Kral, Yarmolenko. That's 6 players that if we just get 6, 5 or 6. Well, Ben Rama's missing. So let's say if we get 5 quality players in the January window, and I'm talking about quality players, that if they're better than what we've got, that's great. If they're on par with what we've got, that's great too. We get 5 quality players and have them on the bench plus the 11 that started. All of a sudden, you're looking at a decent squad. Even if the squad is not big, you're still looking at a decent squad, and that's what I want to see. What I want to see is quality signings. I don't care about the numbers, to be honest. I do hope that we get at least 5 and not less, but I want 5 quality players and just 5 players, and then when it comes to changing it around, etc., we've got a far better chance, haven't we, of doing something when we need to freshen it up and so on. And that's what I'm hoping to see when we go into the January transfer. Damn it, said it again, in the summer transfer window. Good evening to you, Trini. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining, mate. Let's scroll down a bit. CC, you're not being negative against Moyes, but other comments. Everyone's got entitled to their opinion. We won't all agree, but that's what I like about this show, is that people will come on and they'll talk about the same subject in 2 very, very different ways. So long as we're we respect each other, I think that's what is more important. Good evening, Dan. My goals for next season. Let's learn not to give the ball away from every throw. Good point. And let's stop doing short corners as well, Dan. The fuck is all that? We were one of the best teams for scoring goals from set pieces, and then we keep taking short bloody corners. What? Have people forgotten how to head the ball? I don't get that. We were doing that at the weekend as well. Peter. Stella, I hope you didn't bet your house on us reaching the finals. I did predict 5th. I predicted we'd finish 5th, so I was 2 off. So there you go. But 2 off. Well, it could have been worse. As I said, many people were speculating that being in Europa League was going to damage our Premier League status, and we finished 7th. That's not bad. Trini, we have qualified for a playoff, right? Absolutely. Not straight to the group stages. No. Oh, mate, I tried to explain this earlier. All you need to know, Trini, is that we're one of 5 teams that go into the playoffs in August. That's all you need to know. And then when we win the playoffs, that's when the group stages start. If I try and explain what I tried to explain earlier, I'll be here all night and no one will understand what the hell I'm saying. David, any live shows tomorrow for England squad announcement? Oh, I try. I won't promise, but I will try. I will try. Let's scroll down. Good evening, Pat Holland fan. How are you? From sunny Canberra. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining, mate. Dan, let's please learn to keep the ball. Yeah, done that already. Good evening, Martin. FFP is a joke. Different rules for the bigger clubs. Yeah, they find a way of getting circumnavigating around those, don't they? So I don't think that it matters a jot what FFP rules there are. Martin again. All the trendy hipsters love the Conference League. We're all going to love it too when we win it. Epic. I still have my fingers crossed that Fab won't be here. He will be. He's already signed an extended contract. He will be here. Whether he be number 1 or not is another matter. Good evening. It's not worth it. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. And Kevin, I've heard that Haller's gone. He hasn't gone to Man United, but there is speculation. And you know what will happen, don't you? You know what will happen. He'll go to Man United. He'll become top bloody goal scorer in the Premier League. And we'll all keep saying he's shit. He ain't shit. He ain't shit. Good evening, Clive. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. James. Stel, what was the name of your village's practice your moves on donkey? Stel, what was the name of your village's practice your moves on donkey? I have no idea what you mean, mate. But I don't have any donkeys, so there you go. Hammerhead. Darwin Núñez, keep dreaming. No way is he coming. No, he's not. He's not. I don't think he ever. He's already said he wants to go to a Champions League team, but that's not going to stop me from talking about him when the next transfer speculation on him arises. Peter, open top bus parade is on Sunday for winning Betway Cup through East Ham onto Stratford. Don't be late. I'll see you later, I guess. What else we got here? Sharky, Foden has done naff most of the season and won Young Player of the Year over Declan. Weird. It's not worth it. There's about as much chance of us signing players early as there is of still being early for one of his shows. I was early last week. Good evening, Pat. How are you? What a cracking season. So proud of the club. Absolutely fantastic. Howard, Areola, Lingardinho, and Broha. I don't think we'll get Broha. Areola and Lingard, I agree with. I think if we get them, what will shut us all up is if we, get them as signing. Do it. Just do Areola and Lingard, and then all we got to do is worry about 3 more players after that. Martin, I thought Moyes had everything lined up for the January transfer window. Not sure he'll be much different during the summer. He's got no choice. I hope he doesn't panic because he's got no choice. He's got 5 players leaving because of contracts ending. So he's got absolutely no choice. Ahmed, I've read in Manchester News that United will be in for Diop. No, they won't. That was when Mourinho was managing Man United, but I'm not so sure that I'm not so sure that they'll be in for him now. Jim, rewinding to the start. Okay, mate. Enjoy it. I hope you do. Hammer, when did I diss Noble? I didn't diss him. Didn't diss him. There you go. I see Wright is copyright now. Is he? Are we not allowed to use his images or anything like that? Jesus, I'll get this show shut down sooner than you can blink. Trini, the thing I cannot understand is why 2 keepers. I know. I said this earlier, mate. I don't understand why there were 2 keepers on the bench when you could have brought one of the youngsters on. Even if they don't get game time, just bring him on. Or put him on the bench, I should say. We had Okoflex on the bench, so why not another one? David, did anyone see a league table of teams that made most changes and guess who was bottom? I know. It's not surprising. Good evening to you, Cockney Buccaneer. How are you, mate? So much was at stake at Brighton. Can't believe we let them roll over us. We can't blame the City game. It was 7 days before. No, agreed. Palace turned over United, and Palace played 2 days before. Yeah, our fault. We let ourselves down in the performance, second half performance. Daniela, Craig Dawson should speak to his wife and say, "I got another year playing in Europe, and we can move back up north when my career ends." There you go. My career ends. Exactly. How can there be 5 in the? No, there ain't 5, mate. Honestly, Pat. Look, okay, there are 44 teams that are going through to the playoff, of which 5 are West Ham and Villarreal and Fiorentina and a couple of French teams. Can't remember who they are. But mate, honestly, it's complicated. Trust me, it's complicated. All we need to know is we're in the playoffs of the Europa Conference League in August, and when we win that, we go into the group stages. You really need to know no more than that. Can you do a show explaining the Conference League for Dummies, please? I did just tried that, didn't I? For everyone, I'll try and do it later on this week. I'll try and do it again, and I'll have it all written out for you, pages of script because it's confusing. Howard, it'd just be I like that Bowen gets his call up and done. No. Pat, we need to sign the quality early in the window or we'll miss out. That I agree with, mate. I hope he's got his targets already, prepared. I really, really do. WHU, if we get 3 quality players to dovetail Antonio, Bone and Rice, to rest them on occasion, some loan signings, bring on some of the under 23s, I think we can challenge next year. I'm not far off that, mate. I'm saying get 5 quality players is what I'm saying. And I'm including Areola and Lingard in those 5. So it's another 3 on top of those 2. And then 1 or 2 youngsters would love that. And then I think we will have a chance. We will be stronger. Ike Barley, I have a nasty feeling Lingard will drag. Well, if it drags on any longer than a couple of weeks, move on. Let's scroll down. Clown Booze, great show as usual. I'm off to bed. All right, mate. Have a good night, Nick, and I'll speak to you soon. Kevin, we need 5 more. We need more than 5 players now. Mike Dean is on. He's not on VAR. Apparently, there was an April Fool. He's not on VAR. Apparently, I get your sentiment. Good evening, Pash. How are you? Stellan Chatsters, looking forward to a cozy final in that tiny stadium in Prague. You'll be one of very few people that will be able to get a ticket for it, mate. If not Areola, what about Pope? Absolutely, 100% agree. Love to bring him in, but apparently Burnley want 40 million for him. They're not going to get it, but apparently Burnley want 40 million for him. Ballon Dawson. Anyone know what the fight was about in our end yesterday? More on something. Mate, this has unfortunately become part and parcel of going to games, West Ham games, home or away. one fan disagrees with another, and all of a sudden they're fighting each other, for fuck's sake. It is embarrassing, absolutely. But I don't know what it was about. I would speculate that someone said something that someone else took umbrage to, and they ended up having fisticuffs. I mean, why? Anyway, move on. English Yardy, how are you, mate? Bring Cornet from Burnley, decent player. I agree now that I've done my research on him. We need a shifty, creative, hard-working midfielder. Still, Moyes scares me, to be honest. It's going to be the same old dithering Moyes. That's what a lot of people are worried about. I won't lie, I'm worried. That's why I want to see at least two players sign quickly. Get Lingard in, freebie or a free agent, and sign Areola on a permanent. That will ease things a little bit. Then we know that, like I said earlier, we could start looking at other players on top of that. Get them in early, and that will just calm people down a little bit. Anil, will Bone getting call up for England, make it more expensive to purchase? I hope he does, but like I said earlier on, it's Southgate, isn't it? He's not playing. He's not got a Man City shirt on, so he probably won't be picked. Clive, still, any chance of a quick recap as I missed the first hour? I will do a quick recap for you after I've done the transfers. Cockney Buccaneer, Yarmo, Krav, Vlasic, Fredericks going, so we need to replace them and get at least 4 more. That's at least 8 players needed. I agree with you, but like I said earlier on, if we get 5, we'd have done well. Thank you, Clive. Please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button. Please do subscribe. Please hit the bell notification and all that. Be very much appreciated. Hammer it. We should give Bone a better wage and longer contract before he plays for England, for sure. Well, he deserves it, doesn't he? Trini. Surely even Moyes must realise if he did this season, he could be risking his job. He'll be risking a lot more than his job, to be quite honest with you. Peter, some West Ham fans could fight with themselves in a phone box. It was silly. It was really, really silly. Do we need Lingard? Yeah, I would say we do. Which brings me on to the final part of the show, and let's move on to transfers. Right. I have got so many transfer stories to bring you. I honestly really didn't know where to start. So I thought what I'll do is I'll just bring you up to date with some of the new names that have been talked about over the last few days, and some of the names that apparently we're in advanced talks with, etc. Now, as I keep saying every time I do transfer window stories, take this all with a pinch of salt until you see a player wearing the shirt, or it's been announced on our website, the official website, etc. You just got to just take it all in and don't get carried away with it, because there's so many stories. It's incredible. Last week I spoke about Wolfsburg central defender Maxence Lacroix, Bologna central defensive midfielder Jody Shelton, sorry. West Brom goalie and free agent Sam Johnston. Rennes left-sided defender Naif Aguerd. Boa Vista striker Albert Ellis. And Lille attacking player striker Jonathan David. And only one of those is in this show this week, which just goes to show you get a story, you may not hear it again. You get another story and you hear it over and over and over again. So let's start off with a right back. Now, one would ask the question, do we need a right back? But here he is, Bright Osai Samuel. According to some reports, with Vladimir Kufal making that comment about maybe see you next season or whatever it was he said, all of a sudden people are speculating we're going to go in for a right back. Look, we've got Sufal, we've got Ben Johnson competing for that spot. We've got young up and coming player Harrison Ashby, who's just been called into the under-21 Scottish squad again recently. So I doubt very much that a right back is a priority for David Moyes. I can't see it. Unless something's happening in the background that we don't know about, I doubt very much that we're going in for a right back. But let's speculate, shall we? 24 years of age, born in Nigeria, moved to Spain with his family before emigrating with his family to England when he was 10 years of age. And at the age of 17, he got a youth development. He went into the youth development ranks of Blackpool, and he made his professional debut in 2015. He made 79 appearances in total for Blackpool in all. And when he was there, he was a winger winger rather than the right back. He played 16 games as a right midfielder, 3 games as a right winger, blah, blah, blah. The remaining 60 games were shared between a number of different roles that he played. He played left midfield, left-sided winger on the left, etc., etc. In 79, but his main role when he was at Blackpool was right wing, right midfield. In 79 appearances, he scored 5 goals plus 6 assists. In 2017, he moved to QPR for an undisclosed bid at the age of 19, and he moved to the club on a 3-year deal. He made 115 appearances, scoring 13 goals with a further 13 assists. In his time at QPR, he developed more prominently as in the role of right winger. But again, he was utilised in an attacking role on the left side, attacking midfield, etc., etc. But not once did he play as a right back. With his contract running down at the club, Osayi Samuel signed a pre-contract agreement with Turkish club Fenerbahce in January 2021. And despite that, he was going to join in the summer. QPR decided to let him go immediately, and he moved on the same month. He signed a 4.5-year deal for £500,000. He made 62 appearances so far for the Turkish side, 3 goals, 6 assists, and it's at the Turkish club where he actually started to play as a right back, stroke right wing back. Now, strengths. When he was at QPR, he was regarded as a really good dribbler of the ball, exceptional pace, natural style of play is to be driving forward in attack and preferring to spend more time in the opposition box than in his own. Does that sound like a right back to you? When he picks the ball up, his aim is to beat his opponents and drive forward. He's quite cocky in his style of play, apparently. He likes to tease defenders, take them on, and prove that he can beat them all the time. What Moyes would love about him, though, is his ability and confidence as a ball carrier in counter-attacking play. He's very good on the counter-attack. And something that we've all been saying, we need a player with pace. There's no denying Osayi Samuel has got decent pace on him. Look, what we can also do, coming in as a right back just doesn't make sense to me. But coming in maybe as a right-sided midfielder starts to make an awful lot more sense. And if that was the case, then we could utilise this player as a right, to be a backup to Bowen. And when we think we need to change things around, and when Moyes needs to move Bowen into the centre of the park, to play as a striker, someone like Osayi Samuel could come in. He's got a little bit of defensive qualities, but as an attacking midfielder, right-sided midfielder, he could be good. Valued at around £3 million, could be an ideal replacement to the departing Ryan Fredericks, who, as I said earlier, is certain to be leaving at the end of his contract. Right, let's move over to the left side of the pitch. Calvin Bassey, who was quoted as where we have an interest in only last week, straight after the Europa League final and the Scottish Cup final, and now we're linked to Calvin Bassey ourselves. Look, a number of Premier League clubs are reported to be interested in the player. He's a very interesting player, but the first report actually about Bassey being linked to West Ham United came back in February of this year. And it said apparently we've kept tabs on him ever since. Well, if we've kept tabs on him ever since, like many people are saying, let's get the deal done quicker, sooner rather than later. Bassey was born in Italy. He had an option to represent Italy, England, and his parents' country, Nigeria. He's opted for Nigeria and he made his debut with them in March. After his family moved to England, Bassey went on a successful trial at Leicester City at the age of 15. He progressed through the youth ranks, but he never got to play at senior level. In 2020, he moved to Rangers on a free transfer and has since been made 65 appearances for the club, which included, as I just said, the final last week against Eintracht Frankfurt. Bassey also played in the Scottish FA Cup final last weekend, where he was the heartbeat of their defence in beating Heart of Midlothian 2-0. And in both games, in both finals, he was quoted to be probably the best player on the pitch in both games. His performances this season are quoted to be outstanding. In the Europa League final, he played as centre-back, and in the Scottish FA Cup final, he played at left-back. He's comfortable in either positions, which could prove to be really valuable for a team like West Ham United if we're looking at covering both areas. He has a great engine, which is clearly demonstrated when he plays in the left-back position. He's strong in defence, uses a 6'1" frame to good effect, even in aerial duels as well. He doesn't possess a lot of pace, which perhaps could be called into question with a fast-paced Premier League. But his positional play more than makes up for the lack of speed that he has. You can call him a more natural defender rather than the new style sort of wing backy type defender. But he is very agile on his feet. And so it could be someone that could be quite an interesting prospect for the Premier League. His average stats per game: 1.6 tackles, 1 interception, 1.4 clearances, 1.4 aerial wins. Only 22 years of age. He's still learning his trade, but most certainly a player that Moyes has stated in the past might be something that he'd be looking for because of the young, hungry, ready for the next level, etc. No disrespect to the Scottish Premier League, but our Premier League would certainly be a step up for Bassi without a shadow of a doubt. And with having Europa League experience under his belt as well, is also a good shout. Now, look, he played for Steven Gerrard when he was at Rangers, while Gerrard was managing the club. And there's speculation that Gerrard is also looking to possibly bring him to Aston Villa in the summer. He won't come cheap. He'll cost around £15 million, but he'll certainly be able to offer the player. We can offer him next level. We can offer him European football. He's only on 20 grand a week, so we can offer him an increased wage package as well. But the interesting thing about this player is that not only can he play left back to fill what we've been looking for quite some time, someone to be a backup or a replacement to Aaron Cresswell, but the fact that he can also play a left-sided centre back also bodes well as well. So if we get injuries in that area, we know he can be utilised. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. You've got one player that can play both positions. And then in a way, that's kind of smart. If you get a player in that can play in two different positions that we need to cover, that might not be a bad move. He's interesting. I like him. I think he sounds like a very, very interesting prospect. Let's move on to another left-sided defender as well. I've mentioned him before, Naif Aguerd, the alternative to Calvin Bassey. Who knows? Look, I reported Naif Aguerd back in July 2021 in the summer transfer window then. And yet again, his name's been linked to us with this transfer window too. I don't know, to be honest with you. Look, he came through youth academies in Morocco, signed his first professional contract when he returned to Rabat. For them, made 73 appearances. In 2018, at the age of 22, he moved out of Moroccan football to French football for Dijon in a fee of £1.4 million. Started his career there playing for the under-21s, but rapidly progressed through the youth ranks and made the 29 senior appearances. 2 years later, he moved to Rennes, where he currently plays, where he's got his team into the Europa League this season. He signed for them initially on a 4-year contract, £3.5 million. He then extended his contract last summer to 2025. Moroccan international, made his senior debut for his country in 2016 at the age of 20, and so far has made 19 international appearances. Look, his stats are decent, averaging 1 tackle a game, 1 interception a game, 3.8 clearances per game. He takes his defensive duties seriously as a defender should. And he can play either as a left side of a centre back, as a left centre back, or as a left back. Excellent ball distribution with 90% pass accuracy success, very calm under pressure, blah, blah, blah. He sounds decent. But the fact that I reported on him this time last year, and we clearly, needed a left-sided defender and haven't made a move for him. Does that? I don't know. My speculation is that I doubt very much. Excuse the cat. I doubt very much that we're going to be going for him, but I could be wrong. Valued at around £9 million, 26 years of age, decent price range. If I was going to go for either Bassi or Aguerd, probably might go a little bit more for Bassi, slightly younger. May cost us a little bit more, but could be a player that he looks quite strong, quite a bull, Bassi. So over him, I'll probably go with Bassi. Right, let's move on into central midfield. Arthur Melo. Seems that Juve are having a bit of a clear out in the summer, and they need it because they're absolutely bloody broke. They've been under financial scrutiny for some time. Police have investigated the club's finances on fraud issues. With their exit from the Champions League earlier than they expected in March, the club reported losses of over £200 million at the end of the financial year. So, in order to try and address the balance, they've got no choice. They've got to get rid of a few players. A number of players have been linked to West Ham from Juventus, Moise Keane, as well as Arthur Melo. Melo joined the Italian club in 2020 on a 5-year contract for a whopping. This is a club in crisis, financial crisis. He joined them in 2020 for a whopping £68 million. There you go. And guess who? Guess who sold him? Another club in financial crisis, Barcelona. So Barcelona made a £40 million profit on the player. They bought him for 27, £28 million. They sold him to Juventus for £68 million. Oh dear, honestly, it's like monopoly money, isn't it? He made 63 appearances for the club so far, but his time at Juve is not considered to have been a success. This follows on from his time at Barcelona, where even there, his career was not considered to have been a success. So they pulled off a coup. Absolutely. When Melo arrived on the European scene from Brazilian club Grêmio, he came in with a big reputation. He was touted as being the ideal replacement to Xavi Hernandez for Barcelona. And in his early days at the Catalan club, he demonstrated some decent qualities. But unfortunately, that didn't last very long. He's got impeccable passing ability. He retains the ball well. You're going to knock over my computer, madam. He retains the ball well, but 4 years after leaving his native Brazil, it just hasn't really happened for him. And maybe the third club in his career in Europe might be the one that will spark him into life. Arsenal apparently are interested in him, and apparently he'll be worth no more than £20 million. Might be a bargain. Might be a bargain. But I don't know. Will West Ham go in for him? I'm not so sure. Will Arsenal go in for him? Maybe. This sort of player that might excel at Arsenal. Whether he'll actually convince David Moyes that he's a decent player, I don't really know. However, when we've got the likes of Calvin Phillips that we're chasing, a defensive midfielder like Melo might just not be the thing for us. Next one. The rumor came out today. Gianluca Scamacca, 23 years of age, striker for Sassuolo in Italy. Started his footballing career at Lazio Youth, quickly moving on to Roma Youth before moving to PSV Eindhoven for a fee of £240,000 in 2015 at the age of 16. After 2 years there with no senior appearances, Sassuolo bought the striker for £450,000 on a 4.5-year deal. He made his debut for the club at the age of 18 in 2017. Over the last 4 years, he has been on loan to no fewer than 4 clubs, to teams like Cremonese, Ascoli, and Genoa in Italy. His loan spells at both Ascoli and Genoa are considered to be reasonably successful. In 64 senior appearances between the two clubs, he scored 25 goals. He's also made 41 senior appearances for Sassuolo, scoring 16 goals so far. He's also an Italian international. He's made 3 senior national team appearances. And in April of this year, here we go. This is why some of the transfer stories start to look a little bit ridiculous, because in April, literally just a few weeks ago, he extended his contract with with Sassuolo. He extended his contract just a year ago, just a few weeks ago, till 2026, and his market value is now around about £25 million. Now, I mean, you extend your contract, and then what? And then your agent goes, right, I'm going to sell you. I don't really kind of get. Sorry about the cat. I don't get that. You extend your contract, and then apparently you're going to be, or you're up for sale. I don't get it. Anyway, he's extended his contract, and I think the reason why we're even remotely linked to him is because of his style of play. He is like he's tall and gangly, so it doesn't sort of like doesn't fit the sort of the body type. But apparently, he plays a little bit like Antonio, but he's got a little bit more technical skill than Antonio. And there you have it. I mean, honestly, it'll probably be the first and last time you hear about Scamacca being linked to West Ham. I could be wrong, but probably not. Let's move on. Emmanuel Dennis of Watford, who have been relegated, of course. Now, here's a footballer that could be much more in the mould of the kind of player that Moyes might be looking for rather than Scamacca. It's been widely speculated that we've got advanced negotiations with Watford to sign the 24-year-old striker from them. At the age of 19, Dennis moved on a free transfer to Abuja College in Nigeria. From there to Ukrainian club Zoraya Lugansk. He started off big time. He was only with the club for a year before getting a major move to Club Brugge in Belgium for a fee of £1 million. During his time there, he spent time on loan at German club FC Köln. Before moving to Watford on a 5-year contract just last season for a fee of £3.6 million. He made 116 appearances for Bruges, scoring 29 goals with 13 assists, which is not bad. In his one season at Watford, 35 appearances, 10 goals and 6 assists, which again, for a club that's struggled and a club that's been relegated, is again not a bad return. Despite only playing one season for Watford, they're looking at a fee of between 15 to 20 million pounds to sell the player. And yeah, 15 for this day and age. He's had a year of experience in the Premier League. Possibly. He's on a fee. He's on a salary of about 25 grand a week, so we can certainly offer him more than that. And maybe he's the sort of player that, as I said, might fit into the David Moyes style of play. He's a clinical finisher. He's demonstrated that in the Premier League, despite playing in a team that struggled. He holds the ball up well, bringing his teammates into play. But to further prove his all-round team ability, he also gets involved in defensive duties when they're under attack. David Moyes will like that too. Although Dennis prefers to play as a striker, even as a lone frontman, he can also play anywhere along the attacking front line. But when he plays out wide, do not expect a typical winger style of play. He's not a winger. He's not. His best asset is not. One of his assets is not crossing the ball. He prefers to be on the end of the ball rather than crossing it. Another major trait is his pace. He's got decent, very decent pace, and as we know, as people have been saying, we need players with some pace in the team. So possible. There's a possibility there that Dennis, if the rumours are true, he could be on his way to West Ham United. And finally, Eddie Nketiah, young striker from Arsenal. We know his contract's about to expire. With a lack of game time being afforded to him, Nketiah is really looking for a team that's going to utilise him more. And there's all the speculation that Arsenal are looking to sign a big name striker, which means that a player like Nketiah might see himself get even less game time. But in honest to the young lad, having played in the last few games for Arsenal, he's kind of proven his worth. He's scored 4 goals in the last 6 games, 2 in the 4-2 away win against Chelsea, 2 in the 3-1 away win against Leeds. Is he a viable option? Possibly. 22 years of age, clearly a talent, works hard for the team, could provide West Ham with an alternative option, either up front or the left side of attacking midfield. He's kind of shown in the last few games for Arsenal that he can possibly be quite an effective player. There's so many other names I can read about. Stories about Calvin Phillips, as you already know. Nottingham Forest centre-back Joe Worrell. But no way are Nottingham Forest going to be looking to sell any of their players until they know what league they're going to be in next season. Chelsea striker, of course, Armando Broja. Not much to update you on that. Apart from the fact that Newcastle are apparently interested in him and want to pay £40 million. With Worrell, as I said, prime position to reach the Championship playoff finals and then stand a great chance of getting back into the Premier League. They're not likely to sell. And that also goes with another player that we've been interested in Nottingham Forest, Brennan Johnson. They're not going anywhere until we know exactly what's happening. And then, of course, the speculation about Calvin Phillips and about Rafinha, I think we can put that to bed now. I thought that if Leeds were going to be relegated, then there's quite possible that we might be looking for Phillips. I don't think Leeds will want to let either of their players go. There's plenty of others, many more that I can go on about. But I'm going to do a show later. If you watch, by the way, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button so you know when I'm on again. And watch out for the other transfer shows. I'm going to do a couple of transfer specials on a certain number of players that have been spoken about before. And then I'll also be focusing on some new players as well, or new names that we've been linked to. So with that, let me scroll down, do the last bit of comments. What's that? 10:28. That was 20 minutes ago. So I'm going to be, I'm up against it now. So let's scroll down and, oops, see, I didn't like that. It's jumped yet again. So let's go to, um, here. Daniela. Southgate is big bone for the Man United forwards being rubbish this season. I bet you'll still pick Man United players over Bowen. Hammer it. Patrick, another 9 goals would have progressed this season for sure. Who? Peter, has Bassi got a gold finger? Daniela, Southgate pick up, done that one. Green Street, Clive, he's risking 6,000 MTC if he did this window, in my opinion. Yeah, it won't be easy. Won't be easy. He's got to show his hand. He's got to make some signings. WHU, gonna book my holidays for the 7th in Prague. Come on, you Irons, 2023. Good idea, mate. Good idea. I know someone who's booked a hotel already there. Pat, but who would have replaced Tappy? Would he have replaced? What about their work for the team? I don't know who you're talking about. Gary, don't rate Dennis. I think he's a kind of Moyes player, you know, and he might actually come good at West Ham, to be quite honest with you. I don't think he's actually done too bad for Watford, considering they struggled so hard. I think it'd be interesting. I think it'd be interesting. Barley, I think we do need Lingard. Imagine if, oh, you were talking about Lingard, Pat. Imagine if Antonio had half his finishing quality and consistency. Agreed. Hammerette. Antonio needed someone running in the box yesterday when he was tearing up the wing. Didn't see him tearing up the wing in the second half, but I won't be negative about him. Peter, Bakker has flown in to sign 4-year deal on free pie and mush while he's still at the club. No. Let's scroll down. Who else have we got? Lingard. Howard. Lingard has sat in the bench since leaving us, fresh with a point to prove. We need him. We need him, and he needs us. And I think he will look at the World Cup. He'll say to himself, August, September, October, I've got 3 months, or even November, got 4 months to prove that I can still be part of the England squad. He knows that if he comes to West Ham United, he'll be a first-team starter. There's no two ways about it. He knows that. He will get game time at West Ham. He won't be pissed around. He will get game time. Will he get that elsewhere? Don't know. Newcastle or any other team. And it's a big gamble for him. He gambled last season by staying with Man United. Is he going to gamble again? I think that's why we're going to get him. Chris, we need a strong right back for sure. Move Johnson to the left. See, it's possible, actually, getting a right back in if Johnson actually becomes a centre back rather than going out on the left. I think we need a left back. I think we've got no two ways about it. We need a left back, but Johnson could become one of our centre backs, and then getting a right back in would be would make an awful lot of sense. Hammerette, why was Soucek carded yesterday? Anyone? I missed it. I was in the bar most of the time. Paul, Bassi is just what we need. He sounds very, very interesting, doesn't he? Sounds very interesting. Peter, Turkish players don't do well on our top division. He's not Turkish. He's Nigerian, but he's not. He's playing in the Turkish league, but he's not Turkish. Osai Samuel. Let's scroll down. Ashley, did anyone get a good stream on Saturday? Saturday? You mean Sunday? No, mate. I was there. Mihailo, good evening to you. Mark Noble is one of our own. He is. Absolutely. I hope you're well, Mihailo. Chris, oh my days, we need a massive upgrade to the squad. It's scary to even think about it. We need a lot of people in the squad. Ruruni, good evening to you. Estelle Show, what's good? I hope you've seen some of it. I'll try and do a very, very brief rundown a little bit later on. Andy, terrible stream Saturday, buffered until Sunday. Cockney, neither Johnson, Creswell, or Soufal have the ability to get the byline and put a cross in away from the keeper, like fullbacks of old. Creswell has been alive. They're tired. You know, like it or not, they you know, you look at how fresh they were at the beginning of the season. You know, like the Newcastle game and the Aston Villa game, and you look at some of their last game. They pulled out all the stops against Man City the week before last, and they just looked second half. I don't know. Is it unfair to say that they're tired? Am I giving them an excuse? I don't know. Good evening, Ryan. Was at the Scottish Cup final on Saturday. Bassiv is massive, as are we. He's. The more I read about him, the more I like him, to be quite honest with you. Anil, With Tarkowski declining us in hope of a Champions League team coming in for him, what next for him? Should we make another offer? He's going to Newcastle, I think, to be quite honest with you, or Aston Villa even maybe. He wants to stay up north. No Champions League team are going to go for him. Who? Man City don't need him. Chelsea probably don't need him. I know they're losing one or two, Rudiger, etc. But would he be, with the greatest of respect, I think he'll be all right for us. Would he be good enough for Chelsea? But are they allowed to get him even if he's a free agent? I don't know. Spurs, he ain't going there. No, I don't know. I think I would like Tarkowski to come to West Ham, but I just don't think he will. To be honest with you, I don't think he will. Bassey's meant to be a big spender. Anyone watched Trini? Anyone watched him in the final? They would be interested. He was awesome. Strength, stamina, pace. I like the sound of him a lot, mate. I really do. I think he could be someone that could smash it in the Premier League if Moyes is true to his word. Young, hungry, wanting to get to the next level. Premier League is the next level. Is a level. Well, quite a few levels above Scottish League. I don't mean that in a demeaning way, but it is. Um, Oh yeah, Everton was the other one, Chris. You're right. Maybe even Everton might want him. They can't overpay him. They're in trouble with money as well. Clive, Tarkowski can do one. Only showed interest after we got Europa League, glory hunter. Well, he ain't going to be glory hunting. He won't be playing for any team that's going to be winning anything next season. I'll eat my words, won't I? Excuse me. I know I will. Let's scroll down a bit. Ryan, Bassi looked very comfortable going forward to me. I'm not saying he can't go forward, but he's more a natural defender, if you know what I mean, rather than a sort of a marauding left wing back, etc. Uh, Bassi is a diamond bloke. Yeah. Is that Shirley Bassey comment there? Epic. A couple of good games in Europa League and Scottish Pub League don't mean much. Vlasic and Kral were the best players in Russia. Yeah, it's different though, mate. Epic. Honestly, he's decent. He is a very decent looking player. Young, ready for the next level, etc., etc. English Yardie. Still, how about McGinn from Villa? They have a logjam in the middle of the pitch. He's not a bad player. Villa scares me. Gerrard not mucking around. Kamara signing not bad. I think McGinn is a kind of a all right player. Would I want him at West Ham? I think we could do better, to be honest. Pat, stealth. All right. Andy, we should have been all over Kamara. I agree. Ashley, good documentary on tomorrow night, BBC, about match fixing. Oh, give us the details and I'll advertise it. Good evening to you, Luke. How are you, mate? Thank you for joining. I hope you're well. Pat, why are Spanish and Italian teams using British pounds? What do you mean? What about the sell prices? I converted to British pounds. They got everything in euros. I think that's what you're talking about. Oh, why are they using British pounds? Are they actually physically using British pounds? They're not, are they? I wouldn't know. Do you know, Pat? Let me scroll down. We get him up over the moon, Raker. Mr. Venn, how are you? Haven't seen you for ages. I hope you're well. Thanks for finding me. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button and all that sort of stuff. Thank you very much. Dabs, Kamara to Villa is confirmed. Yeah, it was confirmed earlier today. Yeah, I'm still shocked by that. Pat, Scamacha is brilliant. He has a neck tattoo and everything. That makes him superb. Daniela, 23, you sure he looks 28? Which one are you talking about? They're all 23 or 22. Is that Scamacha? Yeah, he's 23. Something like that, give or take. Let's scroll down. Chris, people don't be scared of Villa spending. They are paying huge wages to finish mid-table. They'll be the next Everton if they're not careful. They'll end up spending too much money and have financial difficulties. Cockney, rather have more English gems from lower leagues than like Bone and Antonio than these expensive foreigners. I kind of agree with you there, mate, to be honest. But Bassi, I mean, like I said, he could have played for Italy, etc., etc. But the fact that he's playing in a British league, I'll put him down as one of ours. Luke, players are always good for a bit at Watford, then turn Dunnage. So you saying you don't like Dennis? Am I the only one? Drop like Spuds. I think he could get dropped like Spuds. Okay, epic. Moyes would just ruin Dennis like he ruined Benrahma. Oh, or he could turn him into a great player. Who knows? Who knows? Let's scroll down a bit more. What time am I up to? 10:49. I'm nearly there. I'm nearly caught up. Chris. Dennis is different from Ben Rama. He is direct and always looking to score, fits right into our team. I like the sound of him, to be honest with you. Peter, wasn't Nketiah a song by song by ABBA? Dabs, Nketiah, too young, too small, comes from a shit club. It's a no from me. Fair play. Luke, fun fact, Nketiah has actually been linked to us more years than he's been alive. Ashley, Brennan Johnson, yeah, but like I said earlier, whilst they're in the playoffs, I can't see us going for him. And I know all this talk about Lewis Potter and all that, but even Harlow's playing hardball and say they want 30 million for him. Clive, Peter, was good idea for a song for him if we sign him. Hammerette, talking of strange tattoos, Brozovic, I think that's how it's spelled, had a tattoo of a bomb on his neck. I haven't a clue who you mean, so we'll move on. Dabs, Romano has said that we have made an official offer for Lingard and we've been on direct contact with him. Don't forget, people, this is the Romano that Moyes slaughtered in an interview only a few weeks ago. But having said that, I think we are in for Lingard, to be quite honest with you. Pat, I've got rabbits tattooed on my head. From a distance, they look like it's the happy hour, isn't it? We're into the happy hour. Epic. The rumor is Newman scouted a car in France in January. Told Moyes what? The rumor is Newman scouted Colette a car in France in January and told Moyes not to sign him. He scouted him and then told him not to sign him. I don't understand that. Luke, bring head of transfers at West Ham must be like being head of transfers must be like a polar bear hunter in Egypt. Drop like spuds. West Ham have very good upcoming strikers, Oko Flex, Perkins, and Mubama. They absolutely do, but we don't see enough of them. David M. Is it about time there was interaction between players and fans? So why are there no interviews on YouTube platforms? Mate, you get them for me, I'll bloody well interview them. I swear on my life I would. I would love to interview some of the players that we have in the squad at the moment. I don't think they're allowed to. Pat, West Ham are a bloody good side. The trouble is nobody lets us. Hammerette, doesn't make sense. Why Ocoflex wasn't put on the pitch? Yeah, that's what I said earlier on. I agree. Andy, or don't use the notifications. Just follow the clearly defined schedule that still works too. That's the problem, though, Andy. It's not clearly defined. You piss taker. What else we got here? Let's scroll down. Bassie's from Newham. No, he's not. He was born in Italy, actually. He was born in Italy. I did do that bit of research. Ryan, believe Bassi also counts as a homegrown player as he came through Leicester. Yes, he would do. He would do. Cockney, everybody comment loads and keep past. I'm down at the bottom now that you said that. Hammer, is it right Pep got manager of the year? No. I mean, he's decent, but he ain't got, well, you know, if I had the money, I'd be manager of the year that Pep's got to spend on players. Right. That's it. Thank you so much. As per usual, it's been a pleasure. Do look out. Look, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, because I'm going to be doing loads and loads and loads and loads of shit shows about shit transfer rumours. No, they're not shit shows. They're good shows about shit transfer rumours. So do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thank you for your comments. Really much appreciated. And I'll be seeing you later this week. So watch out for when I'm back on. I expect you all to be on. Late shows, lunchtime shows, or evening shows. What do you prefer? You know, late evening. I could do late evening. Not a problem. Failed MOT. I'll do evening shows because I know you guys. Smell awful. I let myself in for that one, didn't I? It'll probably be evening shows. I might do a couple of midweek shows as well. Midday shows as well. Just look out for me. Thank you all very much. It's been a fantastic season, West Ham fans. Look, let's not deny it. Oh, mate, John, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, John, because you've only just turned up and it's morning. You've probably only just woken up. Before I go, let me do a quick rundown of what I've spoken about. So let me scroll all the way back and I'll do, just for you, John, I'll do a quick rundown. Right. So started off saying thank you very much. Over 800 subscribers. I'm going for 1,000 now. So come on, tell your mates and all that sort of stuff about the channel. Get them to subscribe, etc., etc. Stuart Pearce has left West Ham. That's a real shame. We've made £228 million windfall this season from all the money, games and TV rights and all that sort of stuff. But don't expect anywhere near that to be used in the transfer window. That's the team that started against Brighton. That's the goal that he scored outside the box first or second time, but then they smashed us in the second half, Brighton. It's not Europa League, it's Europa Conference League. And I tried to explain it and found myself really confused. Mark Noble Arena has been named, the academy there. That means that we won't be naming a stand after him at the stadium. Both Dawson and Declan have been named in Europa League Team of the Season. Well deserved. Moyes went on a rant. He went on a big rant, talked about the players. He was unhappy, etc., etc. But as people have said in the chat, mate, you know, you're in charge and you could have made changes before we went 2-1 down. Fabianski signed contracts months ago, so he'd still be here. Areola's apparently close to signing. Any clue in Soufal's comment? No, it's just a misinterpretation. Farewell to Andre. I think he's been immense for us in some of the games. Vlasic future in doubt. He could be going out on loan by the sounds of it. Fredericks might be going back to Fulham. Bowen will get a new deal, but all this talk about him getting a new deal after the transfer window is bollocks. Just sort it out and get it out of the way. And then transfers. Osai Samuel as a right back sounds pretty decent, but who knows? Left side, we want this man, don't we? Bassi is left back, stroke centre back for us. Aguerd, I don't think that'll happen. Mello, I don't think that'll happen. Scamacca, I don't think that will happen. Dennis could be. I think that might be on the cards. And Nketiah, probably not. That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your comments, etc., etc. And I'll see you later on this week with another show.